Hello friends, happy Sunday. Let's paint a Lucas. This arrived during the week. Yeah. I still can. Ooh, darling, 'cause you'll always be my baby. So I haven't done much preliminary work on this. All I've done is airbrush a couple of colours. So we're coming in at the very beginnings of this project. And it's always an exciting time when it's a new project. I don't have any plans on this. I am just painting and enjoying. Let's talk Andor, shall we? I finished season 2, finally. But I'm yet to rewatch Rogue One, which I'll be doing probably tonight. I think Andor is not just a good Star Wars show, I think it's a good show, full stop. It's just very, very good, you know? Morning, Sammy. Morning, Paint Liquor. It's really well written. It really is. And I only have really one criticism, it's probably not the right word, observation about season 2 that I didn't like as much as I liked about season 1. But the way that they interwove the story to tie in with both Rogue One and the prequels, and the prequels as well, I guess. It's just a really well done show. But my criticism of the second season is it did feel like there was just a lot of time jumps, whereas the first season the narrative was, there was some time jumps for sure, but the narrative kind of felt like it was just one story. That one kind of felt like it was multiple stories, and it had to be. But yeah. Cyril Khan and Dedra Miro were great characters. Absolutely great characters. Partygaz, tremendous character. I'm sad that it's over, but at the same time, I'm also glad that it's over. Which is because I think we have this issue with modern television where something that's successful keeps going until it's no longer good. And I think that more shows should stop when they're ahead. I loved Partygaz. Yeah, top set of line last week, which was calibrate your enthusiasm. And I hadn't got to that point yet. When I did, I was like, my guy. Yeah, he's a straight up mad dog. The issue is, we just don't see enough capable villains in media. They just make stupid mistakes. They do stupid things. But he's just a capable villain. Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why Thanos was such an effective villain in Infinity War, and in fact why Infinity War in general was considered to be such a good film, because he is competent. That's just my issue with modern television. It's just all about, as soon as it's successful, keep going. And it's one of the reasons why I think Stranger Things, saying, you know what, we're finishing at 5, that's it, full stop. Andor, only going for 2 seasons, they could have stretched it out, for sure. But they didn't. Yeah, this figure arrived in the mail this week, and I just, as always with a penis sculpt that I get in the mail, I just opened it up, put it together, and thought, I'm starting painting that. That's just glorious. I've now only got one left on my shelf of opportunity, which is the 7 Dwarves. pretty much every other one has just hit the desk as soon as I've got it. And I love them. Absolutely adore this guy's sculpts. I haven't bought all of them. I don't buy them all anymore. I have a friend who buys them all. He actually buys 2 copies of them all. But the ones I buy are just glorious. It's interesting though, something I observed about penis sculpts a little while ago. They're not really designed is not the right word, they're not really suited for a lot of airbrushing. And that's because they're hand sculpted, and so there's the thing that makes them so magic for me is just the real genuine texture and life that they still have, you know, the little micro details, the little flaws are what make them so interesting to paint. But they tend to catch the airbrush in a different way that doesn't suit the airbrush as much. They're fine. They're airbrush okay, as evidenced by my preliminary painting on this, but I can't do what I did for example, last week with that sculpt I did last week, which was a digital painting, a digital sculpt, where I basically finished it with airbrushing. I assembled a couple of figures this week. Don't forget his little ears. So I put together my video for the Dance Macabre, the project that I spent a lot of time on. And it's been one of my most successful YouTube videos that I've done in a long time. And that makes me very happy. It also makes me feel like I should really do more YouTube videos. If you haven't watched it, feel free to go and check out my YouTube channel. Thank you. Yes. Uh, the thing is, I have about 100 hours of stuff that I filmed. Of just the same things over and over again. Me assembling models. You know, there's about 20 hours of me assembling models. I just filmed everything. And then I've got hours and hours and hours of me gluing foam and cutting foam and adding sculpt it and testing models and gluing together 3D prints, and you know, it's just so much stuff that I recorded that I was kind of thinking, you know what, I'll do a full video where I do like a step by step of everything. It's just not even a little bit possible to do a video that was interesting of all of that. And that was one of the issues that I had with starting the video, because I started the video May last year, June last year. I was going to do a step by step of every part of the process. How do you reckon that went? The answer is it didn't. Yep. That was a bit of fun. But I realised as I was trying to start editing it together that it just wasn't going to work. You know, there's too much time. You know, a good YouTube video that I watch when it comes to dioramas or model making or whatever, it goes for like 15, 20 minutes max. Most of the time less than that. It's very rare for me to watch like a full project video where someone goes through and does everything from start to finish. So I calibrated my enthusiasm and just decided to grab little snippets of each little thing that I'd recorded and try to put them in a interesting enough timeline. And then talk about things. One of the things I feel about YouTube videos, and this is not always true or the case, but I'll say it, it's a controversial statement from me. You're either good at the hobby part of the video or you're good at the making of the video. Very, very rare that you get both. The only person who I can really think of that straddles both of those is Zumikito. I think he's really the only one who paints at an extremely high level and then also makes good videos. So yeah, controversial statement maybe. Because when I think about, well, how would I improve the video? How would I improve making the video? The answer is, you think about the video as you're making the model. You're like, okay, cool, what do I need to do to make this shot better? What do I need to do this, blah, blah, blah. And it's when you start concentrating on that you stop concentrating on this model that you're painting. And I think that's what happens with all successful miniature painting YouTubers, is that their focus goes to making a good video, because in many cases it's their livelihood, rather than painting a good model. Controversial? Not sure. And our love will never end, no, you'll always be a part of me. Our love, indefinitely, boy, don't you know you're gonna sing me, ooh, darling, 'cause you'll always be my baby. Ooh, basic skin tone, my favourite colour. Yeah, I love Zoomy. He's a classic. I watched a movie with Mossy yesterday. A movie from, my child was not the right term, but a movie from when I was really keen on, I have a DVD collection of about 500 DVDs. They're all sitting in a box. And we decided that we were going to move them along, donate them, give them away. So we started going through them, and I pulled out about 40 that we were going to send to her dad, so we're sort of keeping them. But I also pulled out about 10 that Mossy hasn't seen. And I was like, you got to watch this movie. I can't believe you haven't seen this movie. Anyway, the first one we watched yesterday was Shutter Island. That's such a good movie. It's such a good movie. Such a clever, good movie. I feel like most of the people that are on my stream will have seen that film. Oh, that's a real shame, mate. Yeah, imagine the first time I watched it. Whew. I was impressed with Mossy. She picked it a little way through. Hey, Moss. Yeah. Come here. G'day, Oria class. Why don't you tell everyone your thoughts on Shutter Island? Yeah, just quickly tell everyone what you thought of it.
It was great.
You did
psychological drama.
You did a good job. You picked the twist.
Crazy.
You picked the twist quite early, sort of.
Mm.
You called it, but you didn't follow it through to its conclusion.
No.
What would you rate the film out of 10?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. And you're excited to watch Ocean's 11, which is the next one we're going to watch that Mossy's never watched?
Ocean's 8 we'll start with.
Ocean's 11 is the first one in the series, so we're going to start with that. Ocean's 8 doesn't actually exist in the same universe as far as I'm concerned.
Who wants to give his opinion?
You want to give your opinion, Oria class? Sure. It's on the movie Shutter Island. Feel free to share your feelings on it. If you've seen it. No, it was good. Yeah, Ocean's 11 is all time. It is one of the great films. You good, Moss?
Great.
Excellent work. It's a good time in cinema around then. I'm going to make her watch The Prestige. Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale. Great film. Christopher Nolan, incredible. Yeah, Prestige is it's probably in my top 10 as well, actually. What are your thoughts on Shutter Island Classed? Have you seen it? Do you have opinions on it? Yeah, fair enough. Well, you kind of missed the whole film then, really. But you know, you do you. I won't spoil it for you, champion. If you want to go watch it, you do watch it. You do you. I'm gonna quickly grab the other models I assembled this week. Well, one of them. Check this out. This is cool. This is another figure for QMHE we're gonna do. Got this guy standing overlooking a little watery promontory thing. He's holding some severed heads. You'll love to see it. Good figure. I don't know. He's a Celt, I think. Where's the box? He is a Celtic chieftain, wild boar standard bearer, Battle of Magatabriga, 63 AD. Cool. So yeah, we're going to paint him next, probably. I did some work on this chick. She's actually getting closer to finish. Yeah, I love Asterix helmets as well. I'm not sure, but she's actually starting to look okay. Getting a few little elements done. So I'm going to do a lot of airbrushing and a few other things, and I think that'll help the overall vibe. But this was kind of like an experiment in using some different colours, and it sort of worked, but it sort of didn't. and I've got some weird like colours on her skin. I kind of wanted it to be like reflective light skin stuff. This bust is from Chimera. This is from the Jewels range. This bust is from Lucas. Yeah, great. I love saving. I just love painting models. I love painting models. I don't care where they're from. Just let me paint. Let me paint toys. That's all I want to do. If I ever win the lottery and don't have to work again, I'll just paint toys all the time. Play games. I do indeed. I do indeed. It's tremendous. I have a rule on my YouTube channel, which is that I only play with painted models, with a couple of very small exceptions, but that's my rule for my YouTube channel. It's good. Good rule. Is there enough light? Should I just up the light slightly? Ever since I instituted my rule of only playing with painted models on the channel, I've certainly painted a lot more board games models, which is a good thing. What is this little guy? What is he, hey? Alright, let's think about our non-metallic metal. Let's try something different. Let's not use the same colours we always use. Nebrus grey. Let's use warm green grey, which is that one, or dark green grey. And then let's highlight into graphite, no. French blue into basic skin tone. Is this going to work? I think so. I think so. Always good to be back painting. Always good. Pastel yellow. There we go. No, it's easy to fall out of the routine, the rhythm. It's easy to fall out of enjoyment. Let's use this approach. To me, this guy looks like a journeyman, a beastman who's not done a great job of maintaining his equipment. So we are going to go for rusted metal, and we're going to try and continue to refine the rusted metal that I did a video on recently. We have I would not recommend coming back and going straight into display painting. That's a challenge. That's a real challenge. We have QMHE coming up in a few short weeks. It's actually about 6 weeks away. 49 days, 48 days. So, as is the case every year, putting together my historical entries. It's just something I really like about the event, the opportunity to paint historical. And every year I say I'm going to paint some tanks and do like an armour kit, and I never do. I reckon I'm going to try this year. I reckon I'm going to buy a tank when we're there. You've all heard it on here, so that's something we're going to try for. So after I finish a couple of these figures, I'm definitely going to get into some of my Black Rose Wars models, which is the next board game project. So looking forward to that. Is this a spike thing that is metal, or does that look like a bone or something? I'm not sure. Jamie Master, best viewers on Stream Boo. Thanks, Jamie Master. I'm alright though, mate. That's okay with you? I don't have a bot. I don't have a bot to help me. I realise now that you were saying that that was a bad bot. But A lot of questions come through there. First of all, hi Incentium. I didn't get the last Spira either, but that's because I feel like I've done a lot of old witches and I feel good about my decisions. I like these sorts of ones, the goblins and stuff, and like mercenary type guys, so that's good. I also love historical painting, and one of the reasons I want to get into some of it is because I feel like it is a very different skill set, and you get to evolve as a painter by learning those skills. And finally, Incentium. Which Joan of Arc bus are you talking about? Did I keep it over here? No, I didn't. I'll go grab it. Talking about this one? We are here. We are waiting. Ba-na-na. This one? I haven't sold it. So I usually, what I usually do is I've got a couple of collectors that enjoy the work that I do, and so usually once I've painted a few models, I'll send them to those collectors and say, are you interested in any of these? And most of the time they'll say yes. But occasionally I get people asking, oh, is any of your stuff for sale? And I'll say yes. And if anyone asks, I'll give them a price. So I would probably be saying for her, I'd be looking at maybe 300 US, including shipping, would be what I would sell her for. Hello, Ghoul Studio. Welcome, friends. Welcome. I don't know how many of you have been in here before, but this is what I painted last week. Finished this one off last week. But I also finished very recently these big projects. Have a look at these big projects that I did. This is one I finished on stream just a couple of weeks ago. Hello Anthony, hello Classic Gary. That one's sitting just over on my shelf over there. Yes, I'll show you another one. This is another one I did. This is probably my favourite one. Camelot. We're knights of the round table. We dance whenever we're able. I want to push the Camelot. So that's kind of been my jam for the last few years, as I've made big projects like that, or this. See you, Isidore. See you, Mossy Moo. SPQR, Senatus Populus Romanus, for the Senate and the people of Rome. In case you're wondering, that's what the SPQR stands for. It's what Roman legionnaires used to have tattooed on their shoulders. And the last one I'll show you. It's not all of the ones I've done. Oh, this one's got music, I forgot. That is all Nico, absolutely. Thanks, school. Yeah, that's all Nico. It's got stuff that lights up. It's got a screen that changes pictures, scrolls through different pictures. So yeah, that's kind of the niche I've found myself in, is doing big dioramas, and I love it. But I still enjoy just having a little paint of little busts. Thank you, Darkest Sun. Interesting question, Aureoclast. The most important part to me in those dioramas is I've explained multiple times why I do them, and I think that is probably the answer to your question. Is the why? Is I remember when I was a really 12, 13, like really figuring out who I was as a human being, that I went to this shop. It was called Dragon's Keep. It was right near my house, and it was about 10 minutes from my house. Mum and Dad used to take me there and drop me off and pick me up a few hours later. And it had model trains, and it had figures painted and stuff, and it just absolutely blew my mind. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And I always wanted to make dioramas and paint figures and stuff, but I was never good enough. I tried when I was a teenager and just never even got close. Didn't have the skill, didn't have the capability. And so now I realised a few years ago, I actually can paint now and I actually can do modelling stuff. I want to do more big projects. And so I did. And so I think the answer to your question is what's more important to me. It's just the feeling of being able to do stuff that excited me when I was a little kid. I like the models. Usually, it's an idea that triggers the dioramas from a range. I actually saw a couple of little models from Mindworks Games the other day that I was like, oh, I'd like to do a diorama of those. There was only 3 models, some like real Japanese style anime vibes, kind of like Nico, but good. Motivation is a very important part of this whole hobby. If you aren't motivated, if you aren't excited by the idea of sitting down and creating, it's very hard to produce something that's you're proud of. Speaking of pirates, if you ever want motivation for painting pirates, go watch Black Sails. Great show. Alright, so this colour that I'm about to highlight with is basic skin tone. And one of the things I'm going to be talking about in my bust class, the Guilds In, is talking about value. The thing about this colour is this is a mid-tone. This is not really a highlight colour, it's a mid-tone. Here it is in the container. Basic skin tone. And yet when I paint it on here, it looks kind of like a highlight. The thing I'm going to be talking about is why the ultimate challenge of miniature painting is always about gaining contrast whilst not losing saturation, vibrancy. How do you do that? Well, you'll have to sign up for my class. Or just come and watch me paint pretty much any week because I talk about it all the time. Now, the real question I need to ask myself with this is, do I want to go into some weird green highlights on the skin using my pistachio? Why would I want to do that? Hello, Plank. G'day, Wobbly Vantinu. Yes, there's a wonderful colour that I like to use, which is called pistachio. It's an extremely high, vibrant green colour. Look at it. Look at it. Get some of that up here. I really like it. I tend to use it probably more than I should. It's an exceptionally nice green. If you go back and look at the majority of my painting over the last few years, you can pretty much spot pistachio on everything I do. Yeah, desaturation is like the number one thing that you see from painters that are trying to level up. You know, they over highlight and they lose their vibrancy. This model, Gary, yeah, sorry, buddy. This is a sculpt by Spira Mirabilis, which is a wonderful Spanish sculptor, and he only does limited editions. I'll give you the link for his page. He releases a model every couple of months, and you basically got to buy them during a window of about two days, and if you don't, then your only option is the secondary market. So you may find someone selling this, you may not, but if you have a look through his back catalogue, you'll see why this guy is regarded by many as one of the best sculptors that we have in the miniature hobby right now. So yeah, if you're able to, and yeah, you might find a copy on eBay or someone selling a copy that they bought a spare. But you'll also see that he does tend to do figures that have a similar vibe. He did a goblin riding a pig, which is just one of my favourite things he's done recently. Well, he doesn't sculpt digitally. he sculpts physically, which is again part of the other reason why he's so well regarded. He shows his process on his Instagram of him sculpting it digitally. Yeah, and then casts it. So he's an incredible artist, and the more people that know about him, the better, as far as I'm concerned, because we need him to keep sculpting. So just sign up for his newsletter. He sends out an email every couple of months and says, I've got a new figure, and yeah. That is your best and only bet. Oh, I haven't painted camo in a long time. I should really paint some camo. That's a really good idea. Wobbly Vantino, I should really do that. Got a couple of projects that I might work on. Which army are we talking about? If it's camo, I'm going to guess. What are they? Are they called Imperial Guard these days, or are they called something else? Katachan? Jungle Fighters? That's showing my age there, isn't it? Funny name. Are they reasonable? Yeah, that's one thing I don't miss about the old army painting scene. I did a Skaven army once, 300 models. Every single little clan rat highlighted, shaded, based. You put them on the table, 50 of them die. 50 of them die in turn one. It's tough going. It's tough going out there for a clan rat. Yeah, Gary, he's a very popular sculptor. And he does a lot of stuff that's, yeah. He's got a very specific style. Thanks, Jimbo. See you later, mate. I too am interested to see how this one turns out. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. I do agree Luca is the best. Yeah, Lucas. Unless you're talking about Luca from Uniden, he's also the best. You and I. Down. You can usually tell when I'm enjoying painting because I stop talking. When I'm really enjoying a figure. We just shut down and glory in the beautiful details. And those that have been around for a while would know that it very often happens with Lucas sculpts. Good job, Frog Jim. I'm banning you for that. I could stay awake just to hear you breathe in. Watch you smile while you are sleeping, while you're far away dreaming. I could spend my life in this sweet surrender. I could stay lost in this moment forever. 'Cause every moment spent with you is a moment I treasure. I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to fall asleep 'cause I miss you, baby. And I don't want to miss a thing. 'Cause even when I dream of you, the sweetest dream would never do. I'd still miss you, baby. And I don't want to miss a thing. Yeah, I don't want to miss one smile. I don't want to miss one kiss. I just want to be with you, right here with you, just like this. I just want to hold you close, feel your heart so close to mine, and just stay here in this moment for all the rest of time. Has anyone watched the Ironheart, the first 3 episodes of that? Is that worth my time? Should I give that a crack? It's actually gotten reasonable reviews. Yeah, that's sort of where I sit most of these days. Well, Paint Liquor, I've sort of stayed in the loop a little bit. I've watched most of the movies and the TV shows and everything that's come out, and you haven't missed much. And that in of itself is a sad thing, but it is what it is. Like the recent Captain America was just pretty bad. I don't remember what's the last show they did. What's the last show? I can't recall. I definitely watched it. Oh, Agatha all along. Agatha was great. Moon Knight was good. I didn't watch Echo yet. Miss Marvel I actually quite liked. Agatha all along was tremendous. Oh, Daredevil, of course. It was Agatha and Daredevil Born Again. They were both good. Daredevil I really enjoyed, but I'm a Charlie Cox fan. I'm a that character fan. I even liked the Ben Affleck movie from years ago of Daredevil. It was Agatha all along. Alright, so how are we going to do the next steps here, Dano? So we're going to use the rusty effect for the rusted metal. Airbrush. I think I might need to airbrush the skin now, actually. So let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. Alexa, airbrush on. So what I want to do with my airbrush with this first pass, I'm going to use this color, which is quite a dark pink, I guess you could call it. Very, very skin tone. But this range, which is the Fantasy Games range, is ever so slightly transparent. So what I want to achieve out of this is a pass over the skin that will soften the blends and add some darker pink tones. So if we have a look here, that's how thick my paint is. So if I've done everything right with this layer, what we'll start to see happen is the rough blends that I did will just start to smooth out a bit. Alright, the next layer, we're going to add some actual dark pink. We're going to use one of my contrast paints, one of my favourites. I'm sure everyone knows what's coming. It's Volupus Pink! And this one is to actually add some saturation. Here we go. That's the level of colour that we're looking at. So we'll just use air to smooth this out. To dry it out, I should say. And then let's add a little Volupus. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to do is add some red. And this time, yeah, I'm actually going to use a red ink, I think. I'm sure I have a colour called Ink Tense Red, if I can find it. There it is. So this is going to be pure, vibrant, saturated colour, and this will be a real subtle pass on just very key areas, I think. Cool, that'll do. Usually I go back and do more airbrushing towards the end, and I will definitely do that. That stage is about adding atmospheric colour. Alexa, airbrush off. But that stage was kind of about smoothing and refining the airbrushing that we've done. Let's go with the deep brown colour. I did get a little paint on the wraps, but that's probably the difference that's probably what skill will get you with an airbrush, is the ability to direct it. Anyone can airbrush to a level that will make their painting better, because the stuff that, like dilution and trigger control, they're all relatively easy things to pick up. The part that's hard to pick up is that ability to direct the spray, because that is just there's no tactile response. That's the part that gets most people. There's no tactile response with an airbrush. You pull the trigger and you don't feel anything from the model. So this colour is Armour Brown. It's an airbrush paint that I mostly don't use through the airbrush. painters from a long time ago might remember painting Buddha or Ben Comets. Is he still doing Patreon, Ben Comets? Is he still doing stuff? I'm not sure. But this is one of his favourite colours. Armour brown. He calls it tank brown sometimes because that's what it used to be called. G'day, X-Tab. Is this leather? Armour brown is a Vallejo Model Air colour. Vallejo, the very first thing I said. Yes, painting Buddha. How good was it? If you go back before the YouTube explosion, they did painting videos, Miniature Mentor. I've got all of those still on my computer. They are just incredible to go back and look at how much miniature painting's changed, and yet how much it's stayed the same as well. Better check in on the missus. Oh yeah, I remember that. So I've heard from a few fairly reliable sources that guy was not the best of blokes. But yeah, he did a big Kickstarter, and I'm pretty sure he cancelled it before the end. I don't think he actually took anyone's money. But he got panned. He got absolutely panned by the community for whatever reason. Yeah. Good times. So on the one hand, I feel empathy for him. Dealing with artists has been one of the more frustrating parts of my time in this hobby. And I say that with the utmost respect. They're absolutely terrible. They're useless. I've bought figures from artists and it's taken them 6 months to send them. G'day Chaotic Painting. Yeah, it's morning for me. It's just ticked over 8:53. Morning, Cragzog. Yeah, well that's the part where I have sympathy for artists. It's not about a one specific repeatable technique in most instances, I don't think. I think it's about practice and experience and understanding what you are trying to achieve and all of these things that are not really repeatable. But as is often the case, agreed, mate, hobby time is wonderful. As is often the case, a lot of people that are looking at those videos are looking for the solution to be able to paint incredibly good without having to contribute the time. Said in my article, said in many areas, most people are barking up the wrong tree. There's the knowledge tree and the skill tree. And most people are barking up the knowledge tree when they need to be barking up the skill tree. Just need to paint. Just need to practice. Yeah, it's an awesome bust, eh? It's kind of like a medieval bebop. Or is it rocksteady? Which one is it? I don't know. One of them was the rhino and one of them was the pig. I feel like bebop is the pig. Warthog. Whatever he was. I try to give information that will increase knowledge. Most of the time, people need to practice. That is the number one thing that they could do that will improve their painting. What bust, mama? Cragzog, you joining us at Guilds Inn, mate? You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. Yeah, the timing for painting Buddha wasn't good for Patreon, really, was it? But I don't think those guys did poorly. It is approaching very rapidly. I have to book accommodation. I'm driving down now. Made a decision to drive so that I can bring the big boy. Alright, we will probably go for another 5 or 10 minutes. I'd really like to try, at some point in the next little while, I'd really like to try painting a model in reverse. Lots and lots of washes. Start with a white base and just do thinner and thinner washes over and over. Or start super thin and then add thicker and thicker washes. Kind of like how some sculptors, they are additive sculptors, which is they add clay to a thing and refine that clay, whereas some are subtractive sculptors. People who used to carve stuff out of marble, you have to be subtractive. I feel like it'd be a really good exercise to think about that from a miniature painting perspective and be subtractive in our miniature painting and start from white and then just go down over and over. I think that'd be a really fun exercise to try. No, I haven't ever watched a painter who's done like that, exactly that. There's some people who do similar to that. But I mean like purely subtractive with nothing. No highlights at all. Your highlights come from the white that you started with, and that's it. There'd have to be like really valuable learnings in that, in reversing your process and thinking about, okay, where do I want my highlights to be? And avoid painting that. Just like thinking about the shapes in reverse, really. Mossy and I have just started season 2 of Scrubs. She's enjoying it. Not as much as I'm enjoying it, but she's enjoying it. Maybe I need to calibrate my enthusiasm. Definitely me. We watched Mad Men. It was pretty good. I've watched The Wire. I've never watched Sopranos though. Heard it's good. Never watched it. What's that ball game they play where they make JD stand in the parking lot and get balls thrown at him? What's that called? Jiggly ball. Jiggly ball. Good old jiggly ball. All right, let's sponge it up. With my favourite technique. At the moment, anyway. Feels like I'm doing this on everything, and I love it. Why is it silverware in the pancake drawer? I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. I want it now. Yeah, I've never watched Squid Game. I don't know why. Doesn't interest me. Everyone was raving about it for a while. Just nope, not for me. Weird, eh? And was it worth it? Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah. I'm getting jazzed to rewatch Stranger Things actually. Um, that is a show that also has a banger stand up first season. I tell you what's a show that had one of the best first seasons in television that then really went off the rails is Heroes. Heroes was a fucking exceptional show the first season, and then just off the rails. And that's unfortunate because it wasn't really their fault. There was a writer's strike right at the time that happened in season 2. Just suffered tremendously from it. I think people forget how good Heroes was. I need to tweak the white balance on my camera. It's very orangey. It's not quite that orangey in real life. Alright, so the plan is I'm going to finish this for guilds. I'm going to paint my cool Celtic chieftain for guilds, maybe, and for QMHE. I've got a Roman centurion bust that I might paint for QMHE. This year at QMHE, I'm definitely buying a tank. Maybe just like a car. Oh yeah, I wanna do a tank for QMHE, and just try some scale modelling. You know, some of those techniques that I see on Night Shift. My friend, what a guy. Yeah, World War Two for sure. Just anything, a tank that I can practice, or a vehicle I can do those sorts of techniques on. I've never done them. I've always wanted to, just never pulled the trigger. What roads? Nah, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do a tank. I don't think, like a rhino or anything like that, or a Land Raider. I have, yeah, I have done. It's just a very different skill set, Craig's. Okay, like no one is no one technique's better or worse. Just different. War pig. I am. That is exactly what I'm painting. A war pig. Yeah, that's a good observation, Craig's. Oh, wow. Um, as in, did we make any tanks in the war? I got no idea. I got a dude who a really well regarded Australian miniature painter, who lives in Brisbane. His name's Graham McNamara. He'd probably know the answer to that question. I do not. I do not know the answer to that question. Cool. Cool name for a tank. Wonder if any of the X-Men fought him. What we have right now, friends, is the Lucas Pena effect. I've been painting for 2 hours and 11 minutes, and it feels like I just started. These figures that this guy sculpts are just... they're just a delight. Just an absolute delight. Alright, so I'll be back tomorrow night to keep painting this guy, unless I at the last second decide to start playing board games again, which is what I did last week, and everyone was very unhappy with me, but I enjoyed it. Hand-sculpted already classed, hand-sculpted baby. I'll just zoom it out so you can get it. Yeah, he's looking cool. Let's put him beside this chick. Hey, yeah. Good fun. I just realised I cover that stuff over with his shield, don't I? That's a bit annoying. Ah, well. Alright, friends. Have a fantastic week. We'll keep painting again soon. I'll catch you all again tomorrow. Big 10 up.